So before I begin today, we have great news for you guys, and we are proud to announce that we have finally finished the first MIP medical interpretation practice video number 21. So this is the first one for the new season. It's going to be a 20 video series, which we want to share this video with you guys. It is completely finished. We have it ready. We just have to post it up so you guys can enjoy it. And we want to make sure that you guys are as hyped as we are. So we want to see if we can get this video to 100 likes. And this video right now that you're seeing right now, if we get when we get this video to 100 likes, that is when we are going to be posting MIP 21 to YouTube. And as soon as we get it to 50 likes, we will be posting it on Patreon. So help us out, guys. Help us out. We know you're as hyped as we are. So let's get this video to 100 likes. I don't think that is that much. So make sure you hit that like button and let's get started. So hello and welcome to Unwind Sessions, where right after my shift I give the highlights of my workday and answer any questions that might have been asked at a previous session. My name is Juan. I am an English-Spanish medical video remote consecutive interpreter with over 4 years of experience. Today is Friday, July 23rd, 2021, and today I took a total of 29 sessions. Like always, a mix between video sessions and audio sessions. I had one quite lengthy session today, which was, I don't even remember what it was about, but it was over an hour ago. I do remember that much, and it was several patients. I believe it was 2 patients. They took me from one room with one patient. We were finished with that, and then they took me to another room. So I remember that much, but as far as what it was about, I honestly don't remember. And yesterday I mentioned a couple of vocabulary words which I told you that I was going to mention today. And I have only one vocabulary word as a highlight today, but before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and mention the words that I had a little bit of a confusion yesterday. Now, these are the words right here: vein graft and injerto de vena, that would be the Spanish translation, and angioplasty, and in Spanish, angioplastia. So I was confusing those terms yesterday. I thought that angioplasty meant vein graft as well, but I swear to you, as soon as I was going to look up the term for vein graft in the computer, like the term just came up to my mind. I was like, it's a vein graft. I can't believe I couldn't remember it. But I mean, for some reason I get nervous when I'm doing these videos and all of my knowledge just leaves me. So yeah, so I didn't even have to look it up, and this is just my definition of a vein graft. So a vein graft, if you have any idea what a skin graft is, a skin graft is like they take skin, and mostly for burn victims, they take like skin from another part of their body, usually from their butt cheek or from their buttock or from their leg, and then they take that skin and they apply it on the affected area so that they could improve the wound. So a vein graft is something similar, except they take a vein from somewhere in your body. Most of the time is from the leg, and most of the time is to do bypass surgery on coronary arteries in the heart. So they take a vein from the leg and they put it into the heart so that the blood flows around the blocked vein, the original blocked vein, and it will still supply the heart. So that is a vein graft. And angioplasty is what I mentioned yesterday during the video. I remembered what an angioplasty was. And angioplasty is just making the veins bigger, or the arteries bigger, through some sort of a stent or a balloon or whatever they need to put in there so that the vein is larger and it allows for more blood flow. So those are the two terms that I mentioned yesterday that I told you that I was going to explain today, and there they are. So moving on to today's highlight, and the new word today is laminectomy. And the Spanish translation for that, it's right here. It's laminectomía. And the definition from hopkinsmedicine.org says, laminectomy is a type of surgery in which a surgeon removes part or all of the vertebral bone, lamina. This helps ease pressure on the spinal cord or the nerve roots that may be caused by injury, herniated disc, narrowing of the canal, which is spinal stenosis, or tumors. Now, they mentioned this, and I've had sessions that talk about laminectomy so many times, but I didn't know that that was what it was called because a doctor had never used this term with me. This is the first time that I'm hearing it, and I'm as surprised as you guys are because I think this is something that should have come up a long time ago. But anyways, the lady had a pinched nerve and she was suggesting that she get surgery, and the surgeon told her that this was the name of the surgery and what they needed to do. So this was a first for me, although I have interpreted many sessions that have a laminectomy, but this is the first time that I was introduced to this term. So it just goes to show you that there's a lot of words that you are probably never even gonna use that they have you learn in vocabulary list, but hey, it's better to know them and not use them than need them and not know them, right? So all right, that was the highlights for today. So moving on, we have a question from one of our viewers, Carlos Esquivel. And I'm finally getting to your question, Carlos. Thank you for your question. And he says, hey Juan, do you have any material for the CCHI Spanish oral exam? P.S. Congratulations, where did you buy your house? So thank you very much. And I bought my house in my hometown of Nuevo Casas Grandes, Chihuahua. Is below, I am right here below Texas. And if I were to just go up into the U.S., I think the border from the U.S. is probably like about 30 miles from my hometown, or 30 kilometers, I'm sorry, not miles, 30 kilometers from my hometown, 35 kilometers from my hometown, but it's still a little town, and it's like almost in the middle of nowhere, I guess. And I should go back to my house in about a week or two, so I am very excited about that. Of course, I'm sad because I won't be eating that much ground food, but also, well, I'm gonna get back to my regular diet and health, so always something good to look forward to. All right, and now let's get to your question. So any tips for the CCHI Spanish oral exam? And after doing some extensive research, I found out that the preparation for the CCHI is just the same as the MBCMI, except that the CCHI is a little trickier. It is 75% consecutive interpreting, 14% simultaneously interpreting, 9% sight translation, 2% translation of a written message. Since the consecutive preparation is already covered in the video titled Prepare for the MBCMI, this time I am only going to focus on the simultaneous, the sight translation, and translation of a written message, and I'm going to give you some tips to prepare for that part of the test. So now for simultaneous, I was surprised. I looked up some resources to be able to practice it, and I was surprised at the recommendation that they gave. It's just so simple, and I can't believe I didn't think of it right from the start. But I don't know what I was thinking. So the recommendation is just turn on the TV and interpret away to whatever is on. Simple, right? It can't get any simpler than that, and that is going to get you some good practice. Now, I was initially going to say that look up some practice videos, some simultaneous interpretation practice videos on YouTube, but guess what? They are hard to find. So I guess we're gonna have to make some simultaneous interpreting practice video for you guys. So look forward to that in the future. I don't know when we'll start doing that, but I mean, that's something that we had to exploit, right? There's not that much free content out there, so we're gonna make it. You can bet on that. So now the good thing about simultaneous practicing is that you can just play a video about a medical topic and voila, you can just go ahead and practice to it. Now, it's just that simple. However, there are some recommendations that might make your life easier. And make sure that you are playing audio in headphones. That way your voice is not fighting the audio that you are hearing, right? Because of course, if you're not able to hear what is being said because your own voice gets in the way, then you are not going to be able to interpret what you cannot hear. So make sure that the audio is coming into your ears so that you can hear it very well and that your voice is not getting in the way of listening. So that is tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 is to actually go ahead and record what you are interpreting. That way, when you are finished with your simultaneous interpreting, you can check out how you did and you can score yourself, right? You can play both videos and just see like section by section how well you actually did. And that is going to give you a clue into how well you're actually doing. And tip number 3 is do not simultaneously interpret for more than 30 minutes at a time. Now, pros, like when they're actually in the booth, when they're simultaneously interpreting, like for the United Nations, they only interpret for about a half an hour. And they just tag team. When the half an hour goes by, they tag team. I don't know if they literally like they tag team, but that's just what I'm gonna call it. So they take turns, right? And whenever a half an hour goes by, that person is on a break and the other interpreter comes on right away. And they do this every 30 minutes because simultaneous is so demanding for your brain, so you need to take breaks. So if you're practicing, do it like the pros. Don't practice more than 30 minutes at a time, and take at least a 10-minute break. It can be longer, but 10 minutes is probably all that you need. Another tip is that if the regular speed of the video is so fast that you cannot interpret to it, there's always an option that you can slow down the rate of the YouTube video, right? And get down to a speed that you are comfortable with and you can work with, and work up from there. But do remember that you need to work up because the practice test is going to be at regular speed. So remember that the goal is to just interpret at a regular speed, and go ahead and try that, and make sure that you always bring it back up to a regular speed. And if you want a little bit more of a challenge, like you're interpreting perfectly and you want to practice in case the audio is a little bit faster, you can always move the speed up to what you're comfortable and what you can interpret, and you're just be a pro right there and then, right? So that is going to be it for the simultaneous part. And I just want to add something that I've only done simultaneous one time in my life, and that was in a conference session. And they were doing like a group talk, and of course the speakers were not going to stop so that I could interpret for the patient, right? So there was no way I could have done it. And after like a little bit of understanding that they were not going to stop for me, I decided to go the simultaneous route. And the hard thing is that even though I had my headphones on, my headset, I could hear my voice from the device. So my voice actually got in the way of actually me being able to hear everything perfectly. But I think I fared fairly well. There was a couple of hiccups, like some words that I couldn't think in the moment, and I just get right over them. Um, but I found it like really, really interesting and really awesome, and I really liked it. And honestly, I thought, of course, I didn't do a perfect job, but I thought it was going to be harder. Like, I didn't think I had the ability to actually do simultaneous interpreting. So actually taking that assignment was a real eye-opener, and it made me realize that maybe with a little bit of practice I can actually be good at it. So don't give up, and just practice. Of course, I had been interpreting for about 3 years before actually getting a session that demanded simultaneous from me. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, moving on to sight translation. Now, sight translation is something that actually comes naturally to me. So I have some few pointers which I think are the things that actually help me. And I didn't realize that this was a thing until I mentioned it on one of my unwind sessions. And a really great interpreter who I look up to and I admire. She is awesome. She has a group in Facebook. And I ask her questions sometimes. She is lovely. She told me that this was called sight translation. So if she had never told me, I would have never known that that is what it was called. And I can do it just so naturally. Like, I guess it's just like a regular talent for me. But I do want to let you know that I'm going to explain to you what I think is the reason why this just comes naturally to me. Now, the reason why this comes naturally to me, I believe, is because I've noticed that I can actually read like 5 or 6 letters at a time. Like, I read letters, blocks of words, block of words, like 5 or 6 words at a time, and I can just look at 5 or 6 words, and I just from looking at them, I read them. Like, I don't have to read word by word. And this is something that I actually trained myself to do. There is a book out there called the 4-Hour Work Week, or yeah, the 4-Hour Work Week. Tim something, I don't remember his name. Tim Dempsey, I think. No, Tim Dempsey is our Patreon. We love you, Tim Dempsey. He's our best Patreon. Tim Ferriss or something like that. I think that's his name. I don't remember. The 4-Hour Work Week, and he has like this little workshop that he uses to get people to read faster. So since I'm studying at an open university, they just give us all kinds of reading material. So I realized that this is something that I had to invest in. So I actually I didn't even take his course or anything. He has the information free on his page, so look it up, and he will explain it better than I can. But now he, in his little course, or his little his page, he tells you just that. And I noticed that because of his of the training that I did, thanks to him, I can actually do this. And this is easier because I'm not reading word by word, so I'm not translating word by word. I'm actually like reading the chunks of 5 or 6 words, and I am like interpreting that, right? And if this works, why? Because I don't know how other languages work, but for example, in English and Spanish, let me give you an example. For example, in English, you say the big red dog, but if you say the big red dog in Spanish, like you translate it word for word, that is going to sound not good. To be able to make it to sound perfect in Spanish, to translate it word for word, it would actually have to read the big dog red in English. So if you're doing word by word, that is going to get you into trouble very, very fast, because it's not going to sound natural, and it's not going to follow all of the grammar rules, right? So what I would suggest is the following. Go ahead and get a book or a PDF. Now, scientific academic journal articles are great for this, and magazines are as well. Now, you are going to place that reading material in front of you so that with just one glance you can see that chunk of 5 or 6 words perfectly. And now you are just going to try and read those 5 or 6 words, and then once you see that block, like you block it, you see that block and you see those 6 words and you understand what those words are, then move on to the next 5 or 6 words and just do it like that. So you're not going to be trying to read word by word. You're actually going to look at those 5 or 6 words, as much words as your brain allows you to actually comprehend and understand, and just try it. Go ahead and look at those 5 words and then move on. Who cares if you don't understand it completely? As long as you understand most of the message, that's good, and then you're gonna do it. So now for the practice, you are going to put on a timer for 1 minute, and you are going to try to read as much as you can in those 5 or 6 word chunks as fast as you can. Now, don't worry about understanding everything or comprehending what you just read. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to get your brain and your eyes used to reading those 5 or 6 words at a time, to just looking at those 5 or 6 words and actually getting a meaning right out of them without having to read each word, right? And just do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, as much as you can. Probably do it for a good 10 minutes before taking a break, and that is going to help you with speed and with actually being able to get your mind into that mindset that you're going to be reading 5 or 6 words at a time and not just 1 word at a time. And now that's going to help you with speed. Now you are going to have to do the very same thing, and this time take your time, but try to do it as fast as you can and actually comprehend what you are reading. And this is something that I get to practice a lot because, like I told you, I'm in an open university, so they give us just loads of scholar articles, scientific articles, magazines, and books and everything. And so of course I get to practice this a lot, and I would say like this is something for you to practice for the rest of your life, and practice it whenever you get a chance, because it is going to help you read much faster and comprehend things much faster, right? Who doesn't want to read faster? So now in scientific journal articles and magazines, like each line is going to have like 5 or 6 words, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. That's why this is perfect, because you're limited by the line, right? And just look at that line, and then once you actually understand what it says, go ahead and look at the next line, and then the next line, and the next line, and that is going to get you into the mindset to actually go ahead and do it like that. And of course you can also do it from anything that has text on it. You can go ahead and do it like that, but it's going to be a little bit more harder, since there are more than 5 or 6 words to a line. But that's something that you are going to need to move on to after you are the master of magazines and scientific articles, right? And that is going to help you. That is going to help you a lot. And now this is just going to help you to be able to read faster and be able to read ahead. And you're going to look at the message and you're going to interpret, and then you're going to look at another chunk, and that is going to help you. Now, once you actually have that done, go ahead and interpret those 5 or 6 words at a time. And I believe that once you have the reading down, sight translation should be much easier. Make sure to take a 15-minute break every 2 hours after practicing, and don't burn yourself out. Now, I really think that this is going to help you to be able to sight translate, because like I told you, this just comes naturally to me. And I believe the reason why it comes naturally to me is because I practice that reading of the chunks, not reading word by word. So those are my tips, and moving on to the translation practice. Now for the translation practice, what you have to do is just go ahead and pick out any text from the internet and translate it. Nah, just joking, don't do that. Go ahead and download some free books that are already in English and in the target language that you work with, your second language or your first language, whatever the case might be. And well, these are works that are already translated for you. So once you actually get the practice and you translate like a paragraph or whatever, then you can just look at the answer, right? And you are going to have the answer because the book is already translated. So what else do you need to actually check your answers? Now, what you actually have to do is you're going to have to addition that translation, because of course we know the horrible translation jobs that or work that is printed out there in the internet that it makes you want to cry. Sometimes they just make you want to puke and give you a headache from how bad they are. So make sure that you're always additioning both texts so that you have an idea and you can see that at least it's decent or it's pretty good, and that way it'll be good practice material, right? It doesn't make sense to actually go ahead and work hard and then have a lousy translation, because that's no good, right? You're gonna be learning just bullshit. So make sure you actually addition, and after that just practice, right? And of course a good translated book will give you all of the answers that you need right away, and that is going to help you to become a much better translator. Another thing that also works for translation is reading. Read a lot, and that is going to give you a lot of background so that you can actually go ahead and be a good translator, right? And that is going to be pretty much it for me today. I hope it helps you, Carlos, and I hope it helps every one of you. So please leave your questions on the comments and I will answer some of them on the next session. I'll be here every Monday to Friday after work. Remember that we have a Patreon page where with as little as $1 of your support, you help motivate us to create much more content, and we give you access to everything on that page: medical practice videos, ad-free, scripts to those videos, answer sheets to those videos, vocabulary list, and much more content. And the most important thing, you are going to win a place inside of our hearts. So remember that we love you. So thank you so much for watching. Please like this video. Remember that once this video gets to 50 likes, we're gonna be uploading the MIP21 to Patreon, and once it reaches 100 likes, we can do this, guys. Come on, 100 likes, we are going to be uploading MIP21, I'm sorry, to YouTube for you guys to enjoy. So please subscribe if you like the video and have not done so for more content, and don't forget to share. Happy interpreting. Goodbye.